if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also
The system
loves
failed,
everything with Jack, bugs.
and a man, uninvited, unauthorized, stepped in to piece together what others had left behind. Not for fame, not for closure, but because some names deserve remembrance, and some disappearances can't be ignored. Something changes inside a man when he watches the same tragic story unfold time and time again. A child vanishes. The community freezes. The media explodes, then fades. Reports are filed away. Witnesses stop talking. Life moves forward for most, but not for him. A veteran detective, whose name remains confidential, was never assigned to the Sullivan case. In fact, he was explicitly told to stay away. But when he saw the faces of 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack, he noticed what others missed: a cover-up disguised behind red tape, media strategy, and systemic breakdown. With over 22 years in law enforcement, his instincts screamed. The GPS data that never made it into the files. A metallic star sticker lying forgotten near a crumbling bridge. An area never searched. He knew something was deeply wrong. And he wasn't going to let it slide. He didn't care about praise. He didn't fear losing his badge. He just wanted one thing: the truth. Tonight, you'll hear how this man stepped outside the system, into the unknown, in search of what really happened to Lily and Jack Sullivan. If you believe in justice, support this mission. Subscribe to our channel. We've crossed 2,000 subscribers thanks to you, and we're pushing for 3,000, 5,000, and beyond. Tap that subscribe button. It's your digital fingerprint in this fight for truth. What stuck with him wasn't the press conference. Not the search grids. Not even the breaking news banners. It was the photo. Just one image, 2 kids side by side. Lily, beaming with a gappy smile. Jack, tilting his head, quiet, eyes wide. A chain-link fence and a plastic toy castle in the background, just another suburban backyard. But their eyes said more. Jack's small hand resting protectively on Lily's shoulder, like he sensed something was coming. That photo haunted him. He printed it, taped it to the wall in his basement office. Not because he was part of the case, he wasn't. But because nobody else was really seeing it. By the time he started paying attention, the case was already losing momentum. The RCMP had held their briefings. Search teams had left. Flyers faded in the rain. The media's interest blew away like autumn leaves. But he didn't move on. He got angrier. He'd seen this before: the vague language, the shifting tone, ongoing investigation, community cooperation, no further comments. That usually meant either nothing, or worse, something that couldn't be said. He didn't like how fast the attention vanished. From front-page urgency to eerie silence. The RCMP's tone went cold. The emotional pleas stopped. And then, there was just stillness. The kind of silence that feels unnatural. At first, it looked normal. Morning pings from home. Then one device, the mother's phone, showed a sudden shift: a 23-minute trip heading northeast at 9:17 a.m., just 40 minutes before the reported disappearance. It returned to the house at 9:42 a.m. That drive was never mentioned in any official timeline. Not once. He double-checked the public statements, the RCMP logs, the mother's own interview. Nowhere did she acknowledge leaving the house that morning. Nowhere. He circled the time, highlighted it in red. Where did she go? Why didn't she say? And then came the second anomaly. Jack's tablet. A cheap kid's model with limited apps but background syncing. At 9:29 a.m., it connected briefly to a public Wi-Fi node registered to a coffee shop 5 miles from the Sullivan residence. Again, never disclosed. Not in press briefings, not in the timeline, not even in speculative reporting. What was Jack's tablet doing that far from home? Was it even Jack holding it? He started building a wall map. String. Pins. Screenshots. News clippings. It was old school, but it worked. Over time, the map started forming a shape, a crooked web that always led back to one point of origin, the house. Not the woods. Not a stranger. The house. He traced another detail, barely a footnote in the police logs. A pink blanket. Found tangled in brambles not far from a decaying wooden bridge near the East Trail. It was listed as unconfirmed personal item. No DNA test was ever mentioned. No confirmation of ownership. But an image leaked online for a brief moment before being scrubbed, a small fleece blanket, printed with unicorns, partially covered in dirt, one corner torn clean off. He saved it. Compared it to earlier photos of Lily from her mother's social media account. Birthday post. Age 5. The same blanket draped over her shoulders. He knew then, it was hers. He didn't need forensics to confirm it. That blanket had no reason to be in the woods unless she had been there too. Still, the RCMP made no connection. Or worse, they made it, and buried it. Then came the footage. Not official. Grainy. Leaked by someone who shouldn't have had it. A night vision clip, less than 7 seconds long. Taken 2 nights after the children vanished. In the background, tall grass, a metal railing, and what looks like a small figure darting behind a tree. It was dismissed as animal movement. Unclear. Unverified. But he knew what he saw. A silhouette. Small. Hesitant. And another flash, a reflective sticker glinting in the dark. A star. The kind found on a child's lunchbox. The kind Lily used to collect. It wasn't proof. But it was enough to ignite something inside him. He didn't sleep that night. He went out to the trail himself. No flashlight, no badge. Just instinct. The bridge was half-rotted, graffiti scrawled on the beams. Below, a shallow creek whispered in the dark. On the other side, bushes swayed under the weight of unseen things. Then he found it. Pressed between a rock and a rusted can, damp but intact, a child's sock. Pink. Tiny. And unmistakably real. He bagged it. Labeled it. But didn't report it. Not yet. Because that would mean trusting the very system that seemed determined to forget. He wasn't a vigilante. He wasn't a hero. He was tired. Tired of watching cases like this rot in silence. Tired of knowing that children vanish and the world just moves on. But not this time. Not with Lily. Not with Jack. He wasn't supposed to be on this case. But some stories don't wait for permission. They demand to be told. And this one is just beginning. If this story moved you, if you're someone who believes truth doesn't have an expiration date, subscribe, comment, and share. We're not here for viral fame. We're here because some names should never be forgotten. This is Gone Before Dawn, the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan. And we're not letting go. Just beneath the surface. That's where the truth lived. And that's when he made a decision. No authorization. No approval. He was going to dig alone if he had to. Because someone had to keep looking. Someone had to stare at that photo long enough to feel what everyone else was trying to forget. Late autumn. Cool air brushing the sides of his neck. The kind of day where the light stretches long across the pavement. And the leaves stick wet to the soles of your shoes. He wasn't on duty. Just a man in a hardware store. Buying a replacement part for a leaky tap he'd been ignoring for 3 weeks. The kind of errand that doesn't matter, until it suddenly does. He saw the alert. 2 children missing. No foul play suspected, yet. He scrolled past it. Not because he didn't care. But because it sounded like every other missing child report. Dry. Procedural. Unalarming. Until it wasn't. Scene 7, something off. Voiceover. Within the hour, everything changed. Dash cam footage. Police tape going up. A blurry photo, officers scanning a creek. And then, their mother's voice. Shaky. Exhausted. Please, if anyone sees them, bring them home. By 6 p.m., Lily and Jack's faces were everywhere. But even as the story exploded online, something felt wrong. What wasn't said, was louder than what was. No mention of the time gap, hours between the kids' disappearance and the 911 call. No clarification on who was with them last. No Amber Alert. That was it. The moment everything stopped. 2 kids under 10, missing in daylight. It should have triggered the system. But it didn't. He remembered standing in the aisle. Rusty wrench in hand. And that absence, it hit harder than it should have. Scene 8, the missing trail. Voiceover. Later that night, he pulled the RCMP press briefing. Scripted. Tight. Lacking urgency. He rewound it again and again, staring at the officer's face. Calm. Too calm. Something shifted inside him. He wasn't part of this case. But he knew. This wouldn't be solved with protocol. It would take something else entirely. He didn't have access to the full case file. But what was public didn't add up. Worse, the things they didn't say rang even louder. Take Daniel Martell, the stepfather. Last adult to see them that morning. Or so the report said. His story. Inconsistent. First, the kids were in the yard. Then, he was in the garage. Then, no clear timestamp at all. Loose language. Unanchored memories. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, the silence of the mother. She appeared once. Spoke softly. Pleaded. Then vanished. No vigil. No press. No second appeal. People grieve differently, but this wasn't grief. This was strategy. Scene 9, the star under the bridge. Voiceover. Then came the trail cam footage, or the delay in discussing it. Weeks went by. No footage. No updates. And then, suddenly, it's being reviewed. What footage? Where from? Why now? And even when they addressed it, it was inconclusive. Timestamps were blurred. Frames cropped. And one key camera, facing the eastern trail, wasn't recording at all. Technical fault. Too many coincidences. Through quiet channels, he got access to limited geolocation data. Old contacts, old favors. RCMP said the phone data wasn't useful. They were wrong. At 2 a.m., under the pale glow of his laptop, he saw it. A single ping. 11:43 a.m. Not from the parents' phones. From a third, likely the kid's old device. Location. Near a disused trail. Beyond a conservation fence. Right beside a small wooden bridge locals called the Dead Crossing. That area? Never searched. Not even on the official map. So he went. Scene 10, what they buried. Voiceover. No backup. No warrant. Just a gut feeling. And a thermos of burnt coffee. The bridge was still there. Rotting at the edges. A handmade sign warning hikers to stay clear. And then, Near the far end, half buried in damp soil, something glinted. He knelt. Brushed the moss. A silver star sticker. Torn. Children's kind. The kind teachers hand out in class. His chest tightened. He remembered it. Lily's denim jacket. Left chest pocket, decorated in silver stars. It had come off. Or someone tore it off. No one had documented this place. No mention in reports. No RCMP statement. The bridge didn't exist. Not officially. He took photos. Bagged the sticker. Marked coordinates. And standing alone on that broken bridge, he whispered something he hadn't said in years. They missed this on purpose. Because this changed everything. Scene 11, back to the dead crossing. Voiceover. He came back the next morning. Before dawn. With tools, gloves, a field journal he hadn't opened in a decade. No tape. No signs of forensics. This place was still, invisible. But not untouched. Near the bridge, disturbed soil. Deep ruts. Tire marks. Not fresh. But not old either. Passenger vehicle. Narrow tread. Not off-road. A sedan, small, forgettable. But it didn't come from the main road. The tracks cut in sideways. From the woods. Someone knew the back way in. This wasn't a mistake. It was intent. He typed just one line in his notes. Whoever drove here, knew no one would be looking. He followed the trail to a clearing. That's where he met the old man. Mid-70s. Flannel shirt. Dog with a limp. You here for the Sullivan case? The man asked. He didn't answer. Didn't have to. You ain't the first one poking around, the man said. But you're the first without a uniform. The old man remembered that morning. Sunday. The day the kids vanished. A silver four-door was parked near the bridge. No plates. He called it in. Left a message with the RCMP tip line. No one ever called back. Back at the bridge, he scanned again. Brush disturbed. Weeds flattened. Like someone had stood there. Watched. Waited. The tire tracks. They were noticed early on. An officer had logged them. But dismissed them as community foot traffic. The photos were never filed. The search perimeter. It stopped short, just before this clearing. He stood at the edge of the bridge. Looked down into the cold water. Then wrote in his journal. Why here? Why not anywhere else? And what did they leave behind that we still haven't found? Because here's the truth. Someone came to that bridge. Someone brought those children. And someone made sure no one looked there. Until it was too late.